Toronto is one of the most expensive cities in Canada, so let's figure out exactly how much it costs me to live here alone as a server with fluctuating and sometimes unsteady income. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I am literally going to be calculating exactly how much money I spend in a week and ultimately a month as a 21-year-old girl living alone in Toronto. I am a baller on a budget, okay? I should also mention I happen to be a server for a living, which means my income varies significantly. And honestly, I never really know what I'm gonna make in a month until I actually make it, which is really fun. So I'm a little bit nervous to be doing these calculations. I have my book here, like I'm literally ready, like I've been ready. So yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, this sounds bad, but like I've honestly really never sat down and actually meticulously calculated exactly how much money I spend. So it's just sort of been like an idea in my head. So it's probably good that I'm doing this, but y'all are literally going to be learning this at the same time as me. So that's really fun. Okay, let's get started. So basically this past week, I tracked exactly what I spent in terms of food, groceries, eating out, transportation, splurging, spending, splurging. You know what I mean? At the end, I will also be going over like my monthly bills, and I'm gonna be factoring that into the weekly spending as well. So just hang tight for that. But let's start with the category of food. So this past week, I actually only spent $40 on groceries at Metro and Loblaws. And that $40 was spent buying things to cook. So like some broccoli, sweet potatoes, and meat. Because a lot of the time I'll cook like a meat, like a chicken or steak with a side of sweet potatoes and broccoli, because that's like one of my favorite go-to meals. So I spent $40 on that at the grocery store. And in terms of food, I also spent $16.37 getting a takeout meal from the hot counter at Loblaws one day for lunch. So I kind of splurged on that because $16 for lunch is, to me, kind of expensive. If y'all see my videos, you know that the salmon from Loblaws is so bussin', so I had to get that one day for lunch. Anyways, also twice this week for lunch, I went to a sushi place in Koreatown and I spent $8 on a sushi meal twice, so that's $16. I'm also gonna add my iced lattes into the category of food. Again, if y'all know, buying coffee and iced lattes are my guilty pleasure, okay? That is my spending thing that I allow myself to do. This past week, I did buy an iced latte every day. Bruh. Also, yes, I do make coffee at home as well, so I'm just a caffeine addict. So anyways, my iced lattes are an average of $7. So 7 times 7 days in the week is $49. So for the food and coffee category, this totals $121.37 for the week. And this was this past week, which is a pretty average, normal week in my life. Okay, moving on to the transportation category. So the main method of transportation besides walking is the subway, and I do have to take the subway to work. So I work on average about 4 shifts a week, and every day that I work, I take the subway twice because I take the subway to work and then home. The subway costs $3.30 per ride, like every 2 hours. And then this past week, I did take the subway twice every day. So $3.30 times 2 times per day is $6.60 per day, times 7 days a week is $46.20. So this week and pretty much every week, on average, I spend about $46.20 on the subway. Sometimes it's a bit less because not always do I take the subway twice a day. Some days I don't take it at all, actually, if I'm off usually, but this past week, I took it every day. So, okay, also this past week, I did something I do not usually do, which is I bought some new clothes. I went thrifting and vintage shopping, and I spent $73.45. I almost never buy new clothes, so that is an unusual expense for me this past week, but I am obviously still gonna factor it. Okay, next, y'all that are not from the city are gonna love this one. I had to do laundry, obviously, this week, and when I went to do laundry, I had to refill my laundry cart. So I do not have laundry in my apartment. There's no laundry in unit. There's a laundry room in the basement of my apartment building. And so how that works is it's obviously you have to pay for it. And so you get like a card and you have to refill that card from like your debit or credit card. So the minimum amount you can put on it is $10 at a time. So I had to put on $10 to do my laundry, and then plus it charges you a 25-cent fee. So I spent $10.25 because I wanted to do laundry. So just added a miscellaneous category because I did spend $17 at Shoppers Drug Mart. I think this was actually more than 7 days ago, but I had to buy like some products and whatever at Shoppers. But I had to buy some products at Shop. Do you hear that? But anyways, I had to buy some products at Shoppers and that costed me $17. So I'm gonna get into some of my like monthly memberships and expenses. My gym membership costs me $61 a month, which is $30.50 bi-weekly, which is about $15 a week. And then I also spend $14 a month on Spotify, and I have a Netflix subscription, which is $9 a month. Basically, I added all of my like monthly subscriptions and memberships. They total about $89 a month, plus my $60 gym membership. So combined, that totals $149 a month, which is $37.25 a week. So if you add up all of those categories weekly, plus including my small monthly bills, subscriptions, and memberships, I get a total of $372.27 per week on average. Of course, that's gonna fluctuate, but this is exactly what I spent last week, basically. This does not include my rent, so I will also factor in that. I pay $12.75 monthly for my rent, which equals $318.75 per week. So if you add everything I just calculated plus my rent payment weekly, that equals $691.02 per week, which times 4 equals a grand total of $2,764.08 per month. I would say how much it costs me to live alone in Toronto is anywhere between $2,700 to $3,300 a month, just depending on, you know, what I spend on, if any emergency expenses come up, that kind of thing. I actually think that's not that bad. Am I crazy? Like for Toronto, I don't know, maybe I miscalculated. I honestly probably made a mistake, but I think that's pretty decent. I've seen so many videos on like New York living and like how much it costs to live in New York City. I think in the future, I'm gonna make a video on how I budget my income, because my income varies, like it's literally different every month, so that's kind of hard to plan for. So yeah, that is how much money I spend in a week living alone in Toronto at 21. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye!